Hi, I'm Sean Fuller for PSICompany.com, and today I'm going to be discussing network IP camera basics and also giving a PSICompany.com product recommendation. Now, the term network IP camera is interchangeable, so they can be referred to as network cameras and IP cameras. So let's get that out of the way. That can be very confusing to some people. Now, in your hunt for a network camera, one of the first acronyms you're going to come across is FPS, which stands for frames per second. Now, most network IP cameras are available in 1 to 30 frames per second. What does that mean? At 30 frames per second, the human eye detects those images strung together as full motion video. So when making that selection, if you're requiring that type of functionality, you're going to be looking at the 30 frame per second realm. But also it brings a negative side to it. At 30 frames per second, you're sending out a lot of data over your network, and it can bog down a network fairly quickly. So what do we do to combat that? Well, it's called compression technology, and there's three main types. There's MJPEG, MPEG-4, and H.264. In MJPEG, basically a snapshot or an image is taken 30 times during a second. That's a full image of whatever the camera's seeing at that time. Now, sending all that over your network, like I said previously, is going to bog it down fairly quickly. So developers decided, hey, we need a better way. And they came up with MPEG-4, which takes a snapshot every so often, and then as the photo or the images update, it just sends the small portion of data of what has changed in the image and sends that, thus reducing your bandwidth greatly. In H.264, it's very similar to MPEG-4, however, it uses up even less bandwidth, and I'll leave it at that because it's fairly complicated. Now, with bandwidth constraints, you need to know how you're going to be using your camera. There's two ways you're going to be viewing it. It's over a LAN, or a local area network, or over a WAN, a wide area network. A LAN is typically a business office, your home, where you have multiple devices that are networked on the same network in a small space, thus allowing for a large amount of bandwidth to be transmitted. On a LAN, you're looking at 100 megabits to 1,000 megabits per second. That's a lot of data. Now, in a WAN scenario, you're looking at connections between cities, states, even countries. And the best example of that is the internet. And the internet has bandwidth constraints. If you're able to have a 10 megabit per second internet connection, you're flying. And typically in upload scenarios involving the internet, if you're at 2 megabits per second, you're above the norm in the US. So you really need to know the application you're going to be using your camera in. Now, when doing a recording of video, you're going to want to do it inside the LAN for the best quality and the best stream of video. That doesn't mean you can't do it over your internet connection or your WAN. However, you're not going to get the same results, and therefore you may get a degradation in quality that might not be acceptable to you. But keep in mind, you can view it simultaneously, so you are able to have somebody recording or viewing inside the LAN and be able to watch the camera outside the LAN on the WAN. Now, that's a lot of stuff to remember. So let's get past that and let's go on to ease of setup and compatibility. These are two major issues when somebody's purchasing a network camera. Now, setup for most people can be quite difficult because most of you out there aren't network gurus and not network geeks. So you're going to need to rely on a great setup software or great support from your vendor, PSICompany.com. And you're also going to need to keep in mind whether the device that you end up purchasing is compatible with your operating system, whether it's Windows, Mac, and also whether it's compatible with your browser. Are you using Google Chrome? Are you using Firefox? Are you using an iPhone? Those are all things you need to be aware of and find out if the camera is capable of interacting with.